Hey guys, I'm Tim Kennedy, and I'm the owner of Divergent Elite Detailing in McDonough, Georgia. I got with me, if you've been in the shop, you've met Miko. So this is Miko. Say hello, Miko. So this is our shop buddy. But I wanted to take a few minutes. Today is the last day of 2024. It's a time of reflection. It's a time that one of the things in order to determine mapping out something of where you want to go, you first got to determine where it is that you currently are. When we did this in 2023, looking at this year, in order for us to map that out, we had to go back and look and say, well, where have we arrived to? It's kind of like going to Six Flags. When you go to Six Flags and let's say one of your crew needs to go to the restroom, you want to know where the restroom is, and so you walk over to the map and you say, well, where is it? Well, the first thing you look for in the strategic arrows that they put there are you are here. Until you know exactly where you are, you can't really effectively map where it is that you want to go. So we believe that in business as well. I'm going to put him down. I think he wants down. We believe that in business as well. So we are looking at where we have come to. So what I want to do is kind of revisit. I want to do a where we were, where we are, and where we anticipate going as we look at 2025. It's been a great year for us. But before I really get into that part of the story, I want to talk to you about just kind of telling you a little bit about me, my history, and then two, walking you through when Divergent was actually started and kind of how that came about. So if you'll allow me, I'd love to share some of that story with you. So hopefully you'll stay with us. At age 15, I determined that I enjoyed detailing. I was sitting on my rear end in my parents' driveway. My dad had I believe it was a 1985 Caprice Classic. That Caprice Classic it was two-tone brown, and then it had the wire spoked hubcaps on it. So I was sitting literally in the driveway with a wash rag, taking it and poking it down with my fingers down in the actual spoke part, inside the spoke part, to get to that silver piece that was round, that was behind the spokes. I wanted that thing to shine. So I'm there with my fingers getting that wash rag, and I get it looking good. So even back then at that age, um, my mind and the way I approached that was one who was very meticulous. And um, I didn't want to stop until it looked just right. Some of that was before a lot of the things that we see on the market today were accessible or even around. That's back in the day when you had a variety of things to use, but it was a limited variety. Turtle wax was king. I remember when Carnauba wax came out, that was the new go-to. But anyway, we had, I learned at that age, I really enjoyed that. That particular time, I realized that again when I was old enough to drive and then able to go to the prom, because I was doing the same thing on the same car, getting it ready for prom night, and I got it looking just right, and I got to the prom, and I walked in the door, and my principal was there, and I spoke to him and went on, and then he said, "Hey Tim, well, the principals and I were kind of on a first name basis, and that really wasn't a good thing back in school." But he called my name, and I turned, and he said, "Come here," and I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Man, I was sitting at the red light. Was that you in that two-tone Caprice Classic?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Man, you went by me. I was sitting at the red light, and the wheels and the car light that blinded me." And so, that was one of those thoughts that was pleasing, and one of those things that I just kind of filed back in my mind, and it just kind of fed the reality that that was something that I really enjoyed. And so that kind of sparked some things, and I thought, I've been an entrepreneur about all my life. I punched a time clock for someone else for short periods of time, little pockets here and there, but nothing long term. But that kind of made me say, well, I could make some money, offering to detail. And so I started out, and it was like 25, $35 for a full inside and out detail, back then. And so, that just kind of launched me into the desire to detail more, but then two taught me some things on the entrepreneurial side. So over the years, that kind of developed more and more as I grew and became an adult, got married. It was a good thing to kind of have in your hip pocket. I always had a mantra that said, if I have a hobby, I would rather it make money than cost me money. So my hobbies tended to be things that were money related, something that were income driven that I could, help feed my family. We had 5 kids, and it was a thing of how do I provide for them? So it was great having those hobbies that I could do that. The other was dog training, something that I've done for over 20 years. Um, but on the detailing side, there was always that avenue that was something that I could do. And it grew in to being a pretty good side hustle, so to speak. And let's fast forward to 2020 when COVID hit. At that time, we had a travel agency and we had an event-driven business. And between the two of them, both of them were affected by COVID because events and traveling were both uh, put to a stop pretty much. So that forced us to have to stop and say, okay, we had to close those businesses. So we had to say, well, what else? What are we going to do for income now? So we did a lot of praying, just a lot of seeking and wondering, what was next for us? What was life supposed to look like now? I mean, our family like to eat 3 meals a day. So how are we going to do that? So um, as we started just putting it out on social media, hey, we've closed our businesses. Here's kind of where we are looking to go and some things we do. Went and bought a pressure washer and said, hey, I'll just clean some driveway, start out there. And so we did. We bought the pressure washer, and it was kind of neat to kind of watch how God worked in that because friends of ours that knew us, family and what have you, they would call us and say, hey, man, I see what's going on. Come do my driveway, come do my sidewalks, those kind of things. So that part was a lot to be grateful for, and just seeing it, we were excited to know people really cared about us that much, that they were really rallying around us and really seeking to help, and we appreciated that. So we kind of merged from driveways to that creativeness in my mind was going, man, what if we could just wash the whole house? So bought a soft wash system and started washing houses. And so we went concrete, the driveways all the way up to washing the house. And so we launched that. Meanwhile, people are calling and saying, hey, I want you to detail. I've heard that you detail. Would you do that for me? Absolutely. So we started doing that. And I'm currently in my home garage, and we were to a point where we were doing them. And then I had a gentleman call me who is actually an owner operator at Chick-fil-A, who's a friend of mine. And he called me. He said, hey, I want you to ceramic coat my truck. I said, absolutely. So I pulled it in there. Well, he's got a Dodge that's jacked up, and I'm trying to fit with the garage door up. I'm literally laying on my belly, stretched out, trying to ceramic coat the top of the truck. So, when you've got to, you do what you need to. And so I worked on that truck, but I was like, man, if we're going to have to stick with stuff that's a little bit lower, whether we lower trucks or cars. And so then I've got calls about doing boats. I was like, well, that's not fitting in here. So we've got to come up with an alternative. Well, meanwhile, our house washing business had really taken off, for a fresh start business. And then we kept getting more and more detail requests. So I was like, all right, Lord, here we go. What's next? And so I thought, well, let me go look for a building, just see if we can afford it. So walked in, found one. The landlord let me in. Let me take a look, and it was a warehouse. And so I was like, oh, so I I didn't have a full strategy. Really didn't know. A lot of it is just taking a step of faith and going and letting the Lord guide you from there. And that's pretty much what we did. And so I walked in there and I thought, okay, this will work. This is home. And so we did that. I took a step of faith and signed a lease. Was actually surprised at the terms that he allowed me to sign the lease under. He knew where we were, and so he worked with us best he could. So we actually signed the lease to the building where we are now. It was a non-painted, stripped out warehouse with some junky stuff in there that needed to be torn down and thrown away. So I went in there, solo crew by myself, and borrowed some two-story or double-decker scaffolding that rolled from a friend of mine, started painting. Went in there and cleaned it up. I basically took my pressure washing unit over there and washed it from floor to ceiling, from floor to ceiling. And so got it looking good, got it ready, and I've got a picture uh, of what it looked like day one. One, when we looked at it, and then two, what it looked like when we put our first vehicle in there. You know, it had to be bare bones. We didn't have any money to get started because we had burnt through what we had been living on, just trying to make ends meet. So anyway, we got to that point. I went and bought a pancake, air compressor, and what tools that I thought I could get started with, and I just got started. And so bought a polisher, bought a Bauer polisher from Harbor Freight. Loved that thing, actually. It worked good. It's a long throw, if you know what that means, and it worked good. So we took it, and when I can't tell you that it was a planned out venture, that we did market research to look at who our competition would be. No, I didn't do any of that. I said, okay, Lord, here's what we're going to do. And so we did that. But when you look at, we thought, we're going to join the others who are adding value in our community in the detailing side, and we're going to try to make some money doing this. Well, what we noticed over the first few months was that it was hard. We realized that our standard wasn't necessarily the norm from what we were seeing. I'm not trying to say that we were above everybody in town, but it was limited. We were finding, that we were actually pioneers on the south side in Henry County to some degree in offering the things that we were offering. And so that got exciting. We set goals for our first year. We met them 9 months in, which we heard was very good. Um, didn't have a benchmark to measure that by, so I thought we were doing pretty good. So, when we started out, we were trying to say, well, what all can we clean? What all can we detail? First of all, what services do we want to offer? And then what vehicles or what do we want to clean? So we started out with automobiles, boats, and RVs. And so we didn't enjoy the RVs quite as much. If an organization is set up and they have a crew and they have everything that's needed, they can turn them fast. And so it came to a point where we had to determine on that front was, what is this floor space worth? If this thing is sitting here for this period of time, how many vehicles could we turn in that same floor space, for actually more money, in that time period? So we decided, after we started them and did them for a while, eventually we hired a person who stayed with us for a number of years, which we were very grateful for. And we became a two-man crew, so we were able to do that. So we didn't start the RVs until he came on, but we were doing boats, which I'd been doing boats for years. And as a hobbyist, you're mobile. So I was traveling all over Atlanta, periodically and doing them, but most of which were being dropped off here at our house. So that worked out good. The other part was, as we're developing our business model, you look at that and you say, well, part of determining, who it is that you want to serve, you have to ask the question, what is my identity as a business? what do I want my identity to look like? And so as you determine that, part of determining who it is you want to walk in the door is determining who it is you don't want in the door. As harsh as that may sound, you don't want to cater to everybody. And part of that deciding on who you don't want to cater to is mentalities that go with dollar figures. I came from a stockbroker financial planning background a number of years ago, and you learn the art of attraction of the millionaire. And when you convey that and you lay that grid over the detailing industry, you look at it and say, how do I attract who it is I want to come in the door? Part of that is a modern facility. Part of that is quality. Part of that, there's so many factors that play into that, and you have to think that through and say, okay, who do I want to feel at home when they walk in the door? Do I want the Corvette owner, the Bugatti owner, the Ferrari owner? Exotics are good to pursue, but there's a lot less of those on the road. But in that, who do I want to come in? And we said, we want the new car owner who is an enthusiast, meaning they're adamant about protecting their investment, or they're a car collector. Right now in the shop is a 79 Corvette that was built as a pace car for the Indianapolis 500 back in that day. Well, I want these guys who are enthusiasts. When you look at a car that's got less than 1,000 miles on it, that was made in 1979, I believe it was. Um, you want to cater to them. You want them to really feel that they're at home. So part of you being able to focus on that for us was to say, who would be the potential distractions? We're not a $50 wash. We're not, those things. And what happens with that a lot of times is you get distracted because now you're catering to a mentality that is not grateful. They don't really truly have an appreciation for the value that you're trying to bring to the situation. It's like kind of taking a priceless jewel and sticking it in a broom closet. It's going to get looked over, and the value of what it really brings is going to be, it's not going to be appreciated because of of where it is. And so you want to look and say, okay, how are we positioning ourselves to where we be valued by the people that we want to serve? And so we try to be very strategic in that. And I'll tell you, it is unnerving when you first get started and you're telling people no, and that rent's coming. You got to stop and go, You kind of have to have a come to Jesus with yourself and make for sure, that you are headed in the direction that you need to be headed in. So we were confident and we said no to a number of people, and it worked for us. We felt like we didn't get distracted per se, potentially by that. So we have been, August was 4 years of 2024 was 4 years for us. So we are grateful for the journey that we have been on in this time. We are grateful to God for blessing the efforts. We love the people who walk in our door. We consider them friends. I love it when some of our Porsche owners will just come park. They'll pull in the shop and come in, and we'll just sit and drink coffee together, and hang out. I like that. Life is about personability. It's about relationship. Sales will follow. If you get distracted and all you can concentrate all you can concentrate on is the money and sales and things like that, that is so shallow. And although it pays the bills, it does. But man, we want to build friendships, with what we do. And one of the things that, as we look back in just in our journey, we've realized we've neglected that some, because I've been challenged recently by a guy who is in our industry that I reached out to as a coach. And he said, they're not clients, they're not customers, they're friends. And you have to change the way that you approach them in that to where you call them. And so if you are a friend of ours and have done business with us, We are planning to call you once a month. Don't let that be weird. That's what friends do. We call you and we check on you. How's your family? How are you? That's not a sales pitch. We're not going to call you and go, oh yeah, by the way, can we book your, that's not it. It's not it at all. It's truly about being relational. We have friends that we do business with that have deaths in the family. We just had one of ours that we just met not too long ago, whose wife died of cancer. We want to be involved in that. We want to have opportunity to love on them and have during that time. We want it to be more than a dollar. We want it to be an actual true friendship. And so that's awkward for some people, but we're okay with that. We're pretty passionate about people. We like to pour into them. We like to invest in them. And to our approach, if you ever watch a superhero movie, every hero in that has a person who is alongside them. When you look at, if you've watched Lord of the Rings, your main character in there, he's got a support person that's beside him. It was Samwise Gamgee. And if you look at him, he's never really elevated to the hero, but he was perfectly fine with that because he helped the main character of the movie achieve what it was that he was trying to achieve. And so we don't want to be the hero. Our friends that walk in the door that trust us, they're the heroes. And what we're really there to do is to hear, what storyline are you currently living that we can step into and be a part of and help you be the hero of protecting that investment. Vehicle is the second largest investment, and we want to make you the hero of doing that. And so we're there to teach, we're there to guide, we're there to help you achieve those things. We're there to serve you, in those capacities. But we reflect and we say, thank God for you becoming a friend of ours by walking in our door, giving us the opportunity and the pleasure to meet you, and two, to get to know you. It's so fun to stand in the shop this last week. We've been on an abbreviated schedule because of the holidays, to just sit and talk with a Corvette collector who has free time on his hands. He's off, and just to be able to stand back there and build a relationship, to talk, to hear his passion, to hear how much about Corvettes he knows and how much I don't know, but learn from him. So that was a great experience there. But one of the things I want to make sure you hear me say, if you've walked in our door, whether you've spent a dollar with us or not, thank you. I am grateful. I thank God for you for allowing us the honor and the pleasure of meeting, and for many of you serving you. So what an honor that has been. Thank you for the contribution. Because here's the deal. Let's peel it back. Behind every logo, behind every sign, behind every catchphrase, whatever it might be, slogan, behind every one of those things is a family trying to make a go of it. And that family is mine. It's been our family. We have 5 kids, 7 grandchildren, and mom and I, this is our home. This is my home away from home. We are grateful. We are grateful. It's neat that you would honor us with your presence in our shop. So thank you for that. What's coming up for 2025? We have tested the market for vehicle storage. We've been doing that. We launched it as a pre-sale, and so we've been testing the market on that. So far, the response has not been what we thought it would be. We had verbal interest in that, but when it comes down to signing the dotted line, so to speak, we've not had that to support it. So we are probably going to pull the plug on that. And don't mind sharing that. You don't know what something's going to do unless you're willing to try it. And so we tried the pre-sale part, and instead of signing a lease and obligating ourselves to a debt that now we're trying to figure out how we're going to pay for, just made more sense to press pause on that idea and not rent the building next door. So that is not going to be in the works for 2025. What is going to be in the works? We have launched mobile detailing. Let me talk about the mobile detailing part. We are offering on the road the same quality of what we offer in the shop. And if you've looked at our pricing, it's more than a lot, but so is the quality. Now, there's an expectation many times that you're coming to us, so it should be cheaper. That's not going to be the case. But what we are doing right now are working on putting some packages. We've done a number of vehicles mobilely now, and so we're getting some feedback. And so we're probably going to mold some, reshape some packages that we offer. The things that we will do are your interior, exterior details, even some polishing. What we won't do is we can't do ceramic coating in your driveway. We cannot do window tinting in your driveway. When you use reputable brands of product like G-Technic, you have to do it in a controlled environment. If you are being quoted a ceramic coating and they say, oh, we can do it in your driveway, know what it is you're getting. If you're chasing the cheapest, that's what you're getting, but don't have a high expectation out of what coverage you're going to get and protection you're going to get. The other part is polishing. Be careful who you let polish your vehicle. We fix a lot of those. Because you own a polisher does not mean you know how to use it. And so you need to see a resume. You need to see, well, what is your system? You know, will we be putting out content and videos on that of how do you shop for the right detailer? So be cautious in that. So mobile detailing, we've started that. And like I said, we're going to be reshaping some packages in that. And then, so we're doing interior, exterior detailing, polishing, and then we'll do what we call our fusion-based ceramic coating. Your fusion-based is basically, it's a dumbed down version. Dumbed down means it's user friendly, it's DIY friendly. And so it is a ceramic coating. It's a true ceramic coating, but it only lasts about 90 days. Okay. So it's one you'll continue to reapply. So in that context, it's a valuable product because it does put a form of protection. You just need to do it a lot more often. The professional grades are going to be, you know, 1, 5, and 9 year, which is what we do the majority of. So we will be doing that on our mobile side. We are growing our PPF, our paint protection film business that is starting to really gain traction and take off. We have great installers. Part of our issue or problem, if you want to call it that, is that I am so picky. You can't come in my shop unless you have a proven track record because they are an extension of us, and I want to make sure that the quality is where it needs to be. I'm not saying we're perfect, okay? I'm not. We've had redos, and that's okay. But my commitment is that we continue until it's right. I'm not going to leave our friends hanging. And so we have great installers. Our PPF installer has been at it for 12 years, and now we're offering tint as well. Both of those, as I said, will be offered with the professional grade ceramic coating in our shop. So you'll need to book that there. Tint installer is phenomenal. Our PPF installer and our tint installer are both good friends, and they both came to us as a package, and we are thankful that they are there as a part of our team. So we are still working out a few booking kinks, and part of that is because both of these guys live well above the north side of Atlanta. Traffic is an issue, and so them getting back. So in the next little while, they're going to be relocating to the south side, so that would help us out in that. So, but we've got great installers. The product that we use for PPF is fantastic. It's about optical films. We're using that, and then on the tint side, it's Autobond. So do your research. Look at both of those. They're both top of the line product. If you call and get substantial different quotes price wise from what you quote us and other people, just know that it's not the same. Okay, there are lower end tints that people will put on your vehicle and lower end PPFs. And I will tell you, there is a difference. There's a difference. Just know what you're paying for. The other thing that we're going to be doing, if you're my age or around that, you'll remember Sherwin-Williams years ago launched a campaign called Ask Sherwin-Williams. Back in the day, I was in management. I oversaw the industrial paint division for Sherwin-Williams. So not only do I have a detailing background, I have an extensive paint background as well. So it helps to know what how paint performs and what makes it up, and how do you take care of certain things without exhausting it, meaning putting chemicals and stuff on it that are going to damage it. So working at Sherwin-Williams, um, so Sherwin-Williams launched a number of years ago a campaign called Ask Sherwin-Williams. It always said, "The pros know, ask Sherwin-Williams," which I thought was ingenious because we would have people call our store, and it could be people who needed questions answered so that they know how to make their list for for when they came to the store, they know what to buy. But then you would have people who would call that would just tell you up front, "I'm not coming in the store. I'm out on a job site, or I'm out at my house and I'm trying to figure this out. Can you answer a question?" Absolutely. So we would answer the questions. But what that did is that grew a dependency. It grew trust. It grew when people had legitimate, and some of them not so legitimate, questions. They knew where to turn to. So, well, your ad says, and they would literally say, "Your ad says, ask Sherwin-Williams. So I'm calling you." I said, "Absolutely. All right, what is it?" We are going to adopt a similar uh, thing with that, and we're going to call it Ask Divergent. It's our mission to create content to where we are addressing needs in our community and outside of the community pertaining to protecting a vehicle. A lot of it, some of it's going to be a restoration, part of it's going to be preservation, part of it's going to be new car prep. How do I protect a new vehicle that I just paid $100,000 for? Um, what are my options? So we're going to take content like that and put it in videos on our YouTube channel. So if you follow us on YouTube, I would encourage you to do that. Visit Divergent Elite Detailing on YouTube, and then our Facebook page as well. You will see those videos there. And then on our website at divergentdetailing.com, if you look on the Ask Divergent blog, you'll see those videos posted there as well. So we have started creating some, and we're gonna really create a library of those there. We want to be the people that have earned your trust. It's one thing to talk, but it's another thing to have a proven track record, and that's really what we want to do. We want to build that proven track record to earn your trust, and hopefully it will turn into us earning your business. So we are excited about that. And the content, you can be looking for that. You can go now. There's content there. And so be watching for new content coming up in this year. Our goal is 2 to 3 videos a week. That will also help us with, if you know what search engine optimization is, it's basically SEO, which is when I do ceramic coating near me, then we want to be the first one to populate in that search result. And a lot of that is getting Google's winning their favor so that they populate us. And one of the ways to do that is to put out legitimate content, and that's going to be our goal for doing that. But two, it builds trust. I love it when people come in the shop and they say, "Man, I feel like I already know you because I've watched some of your videos." And again, we're not trying to be the movie stars here. We're not trying to be the heroes. We're trying to help you be the hero of protecting your asset. So if you'll watch that, turn the notifications on so you'll know when the new video is launched, and you'll see that. And then also we're going to do a once a month newsletter. The once a month newsletter is going to talk about product. It's going to talk about people, and it's going to talk about events. So the product is going to be the video that we put in there about product is showing you and featuring a particular product and how it helps you in taking care of your vehicle. So we'll do a product feature. The other part is going to be a person. We're looking for, and along the lines of the product, we're actually going to do that through projects. So it's the PPE, project, people, and events. And so in that newsletter, you're going to see things like, what is a local project? This car here is a 2014 BMW 428i. It's my wife's car. I'm going to take this car and I'm going to restore it inside and out. And when I say restore, I'm talking about detailing restore. I'm not the guy that pulls cars apart because I'd have parts left over when we put it back together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and restore the paint. I'm going to do a multi-stage on it. I'm going to take out the scratches. I'm going to fix rock chips. And then on the inside and on here, then I'm going to polish it out with a multi-stage. After that, then we're going to come back and I'm going to PPF the entire vehicle. So we'll put a clear poly film over the whole thing that's 8 mils thick to protect it against rock chips. And so after we do that, then I'm going to come back over and then I'll put ceramic coating, a 9-year ceramic over the top. And so we're going to have 2 layers of really, really durable protection on the inside. Then I'm gonna do things and tackle projects on here like they're water spots that are etched in the glass. So I'm gonna show you what products can be used to literally polish the glass to get those out. Those that will come out, there are those that won't. Um, but we're going to walk through that. So I'm going to take each individual thing that we're going to fix on there and make a video of it to kind of tell you what is it that we're trying to solve, and then the steps, meaning the products, the processes, and those things associated with each of those things. So there are a number of things on here that we want to address. The other part is on the interior. It is a convertible. When the weather is warm and my wife is in that car, that top is going back. So she's pressing the button and ready to go. The thing is, it gets a lot of sunlight when you look at red, burgundy's interiors, red is a semi-transparent pigmentation and it sun fades fast. It get reds and yellows and things like that. So what I've got to do is preserve that red so that to make it UV protected. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through and walk you through the conditioning process of the leather. Heat is going to dry. Heat is going to discolor. Heat is going to do a number of things. And you got to watch what you use on there because you don't want to speed up the aging process. If I'm using chemicals on it that are too harsh, it's stripping it of its natural oils. If I'm, or I'm getting into the threads and I'm drying the threads out. So now I've got seat separating where they were sewn together. So how do I not damage those things? So I'm going to walk you through looking at the seats and how do we go in and refurbish those? How do we protect them? And then, after we get them reconditioned, then how do we go in and protect them against the sun? So I'm going to walk you through that. Scratches on the wood grain, the different trim pieces that are on the interior. I want to go in and be able to polish those out. I'll show you how to do that. Different things along those lines. So anyway, that's where content will come from on Ask Divergent. We will take these projects and then on the newsletter, as I said too, you'll have the projects that's featured on the newsletter once a month. You'll have a person. Everybody's got a car story. Everybody's got a car story. Somebody is currently driving their car story. And so those that are currently driving their car story, maybe it's their baby, the Corvette that's in the shop. I asked him, I said, is this your baby or your baby baby? He said, it's my baby baby. So we want the baby babies in here so that we can tell the story. What is it about that? So we redid this garage for YouTube footage. So we're going to, with the Ask Divergent and the newsletter, we're going to have our guests in here. I have 2 high top chairs that are here. So we will interview them, give them a chance to tell their car story, have their car featured in here. And so we'll share that car story. So we have projects, then we have people. We'll tell their car story, and then events. What are the events that are having coming up? One of the things that we're going to do is we are going to 2 things. We're going to attend more events. We are going to car shows, but then we're going to do things like a cruise up to the Porsche Experience. If you've seen, they have a couple of restaurants there. Man, I would love to do a Saturday brunch cruise, meet at the shop, drive up to the Porsche Experience, have brunch at their cafe that I cannot remember the name off the top of my head right now. But to drive over to the cafe, just meet at the shop, cruise over, have breakfast, or brunch, and then disperse. So we'll have events like that, or just good hangout time, talking cars, food, whatever we want to talk about. And then 2, some friend appreciation days at the shop. So we want to have you come and be a part of an event that we get to honor you. We'll feed you, do some fun things together there at the shop. And we want to attend some things that are already going on. We're not trying to make it all about us and take on the event industry per se, but Summit has an event every week, every Monday. So we want to go over and support that. things like that. So another thing is we have a full-on tailgate trailer. What do I mean? We have an 8.5 by 16-foot trailer that has a door on the side that lets up like concession stand door. In it, we have a 70-inch TV, full surround sound, Wi-Fi. It has satellite, has the whole nine yards. It's got a mixer board with handheld wireless mics and all that allow us to be able to go out and have opportunity to build relationships. You got a birthday party and you got a bunch of family members coming over, and you're looking for a way to provide some entertainment per se. We're not trying to get wild and crazy. So, if you know what I mean, we're going to keep it simple, and but we'll come out and be involved in things like movie night for the kids. If your kid's having a birthday party and you got 10 kids out there and you want somebody to come show a movie, we'll come do it. We'll come out. Can't do everything because we're not trying to be event driven per se, but we're trying to be relational. And so for the times that we can, we'll have a certain number of times a month that we're able to go out and do that. So you'd have to reserve a spot for it, see if it jives with our calendar as well. So that's something that we can look at. So Atlanta Motor Speedway, we get invited to car shows out there. We broadcast at different car shows, the Falcons game, the Georgia game. So football season's almost over this year though. But those are some things that we really want to be community driven and be involved in. So look for those events as they come out on that newsletter. So that's pretty much it, in a nutshell of what we're trying to do. We'll update you as things continue to transpire as we look at what God's got for us, in 2025. But thank you. Thank you for the investment of time in watching this video, but thank you too for trusting us and allowing us to honor and the privilege of serving you. Come see us, come drink some coffee, come hang out. Let's talk cars. If you know what goes on under the hood, you'll know a lot more than me. So I'll learn from you. People say, are you a car buff? I said, I'm more of a car buffer. So that's about the extent of what I know. So, but yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. 2025 is going to be an excellent year. I pray that for you and for your family. And let's go grab it with both hands. The opportunity God puts before us is there. We just have to take it. We have to believe and accept it. And so what will you do with that gift? So, man, we'd love to meet you again, see you again. So we look forward to that opportunity. But hey, let's make it a great 2025. Happy New Year. God bless you and your family.